Welcome to Future Farming Tech, the specialized channel focusing on heavy machinery technology in both agriculture and industry sectors. This channel isn't just another video platform. It's a place where you can discover valuable and intriguing insights into technological advancements within agriculture and industry. We proudly introduce a dynamic platform providing daily videos that offer in-depth and detailed perspectives on the most advanced machinery available today. Our team continually strives to produce high-quality videos, providing a comprehensive view of the application and potential of technology in improving production processes and enhancing efficiency. With an ever-growing viewership and positive reception, we are committed to delivering regular and high-quality content. Our hope is that Future Farming Tech serves not only as a valuable information source but also as an educational and captivating destination for everyone interested in the development of technology within agriculture and industry. We sincerely appreciate the enthusiastic support from everyone. In the realm of modern agricultural machinery, Claas stands as a pioneering force, renowned for its cutting-edge grass-cutting machines that revolutionize farming practices worldwide. The Claas brand has long been synonymous with innovation, reliability, and efficiency in the agricultural sector. Among its impressive lineup, several of Claas's renowned grass-cutting machines have become benchmarks in the industry, transforming the way farmers manage their fields and livestock. Claas offers a diverse range of advanced grass-cutting machines, each tailored to suit specific farming needs and equipped with state-of-the-art technology. Among the notable models in Claas's repertoire are 1. Claas Jaguar forage harvesters. Known for their exceptional performance in harvesting grass for animal feed, the Jaguar series is equipped with powerful engines and innovative cutting systems, optimizing the harvesting process while maintaining forage quality. 2. Claas disco mowers. These machines are celebrated for their precision and efficiency in grass cutting, with cutting widths ranging from small to large. The disco mowers ensure meticulous and uniform cutting across various terrains. 3. Claas liner rakes. These rakes are designed to gather cut grass efficiently, offering adjustable widths and innovative tine designs to handle different types of forage with ease. 4. Claas Quadrant balers. Recognized for their excellence in hay baling, the Quadrant series delivers compact and uniformly shaped bales, ensuring efficient storage and transportation of harvested grass. 5. Claas Volto tethers. These machines excel in the drying process by gently turning and aerating the cut grass, enhancing drying efficiency and maintaining forage quality. Claas's commitment to technological advancements and precision engineering has elevated these grass-cutting machines to the forefront of modern agriculture. These models exemplify the brand's dedication to innovation, offering farmers efficient and reliable solutions for their grass cutting and forage harvesting needs. The process of harvesting grass for livestock feed is an essential and labor-intensive task that requires careful attention and patience. This process is not only about ensuring a quality food source for livestock but also impacts their health and productivity. Firstly, the process typically begins with selecting the type of grass suitable for the climate and soil conditions. Common grass types such as hay, ryegrass, oatgrass, or Bermuda grass are often chosen for cultivation and harvesting due to their high nutritional value and resilience to drought. Once the suitable grass type is chosen, the process involves nurturing and fertilizing the grass to encourage growth. This requires consistent watering and providing adequate fertilizers to ensure robust growth and nutrient-rich grass. When the grass reaches a vibrant golden age, it is time for harvesting. This is often done using machinery such as mowers, reapers, or even manually for smaller areas. Harvesting grass requires skill and precision to not only yield good quantities but also to avoid damaging the soil bed. After harvesting, the grass is typically dried or ensiled to be used as livestock feed. The drying process helps maintain the nutritional value and prevents spoilage during storage, while ensiling retains the freshness and nutrients of the grass. Finally, the harvested grass is stored in appropriate warehouses or packaging to ensure safety and quality, until it is used as feed for the livestock. The grass harvesting process not only requires meticulous preparation, but also demands an understanding of the grass and techniques in harvesting to ensure a nutritious and safe food source for the livestock. Claas is a leading manufacturer of grass-cutting machines, and their product is not only an optimal solution for farmers but also a significant step towards modernizing agriculture. Claas's grass-cutting machine not only saves time and operational costs but also offers numerous outstanding advantages. Designed with advanced technology, Claas's grass-cutting machine is not only precise in cutting grass, but also integrates many modern features. Smart sensors enable the machine to automatically adjust for more accurate and efficient grass cutting. This not only enhances productivity but also reduces the fatigue and effort required by the operator. Claas's grass-cutting machines are also designed to save fuel and are easy to maintain. They employ high-performance engines and advanced technology to optimize fuel consumption, reducing operating costs for farmers. Additionally, automatic features and intelligent maintenance systems ensure stable operation and minimal breakdowns. Claas's grass-cutting machine is not just an efficient tool for the present but also a significant step toward the future of agriculture. With the potential of automation technology, Claas's grass-cutting machines are expected not only to cut grass, but also perform various other tasks in soil management and farm operation. In the future, Claas's machinery could be integrated with artificial intelligence and robotics to undertake more complex tasks, allowing farmers to focus on more strategic aspects of farm management. This promises maximum efficiency and savings for the modern agricultural industry. The advanced grass-cutting machines from Claas not only meet the demand for efficient operation, but also provide numerous conveniences and significant benefits to farmers. The standout feature of Claas's grass-cutting machines lies in their performance and capacity, leveraging advanced technology. They offer high power and precision in cutting and harvesting fodder for livestock. This results in optimal performance, reducing the time and effort farmers need to invest in tending to their fields. The design of Claas's grass-cutting machines is optimized to meet various demands. Their flexibility and adjustability cater to different terrains and weather conditions, enabling farmers to efficiently utilize resources. The optimization offered by Claas's grass-cutting machines not only saves time and effort but also brings substantial benefits to farm management. These machines supply high-quality feed for livestock, enhancing their health and reproductive performance. Moreover, the quick and accurate grass harvesting minimizes waste and effectively preserves fodder. The advanced technology integrated into Claas's grass-cutting machines has significantly transformed how farmers approach and utilize land. This technology not only enhances productivity and efficiency but also fosters a safer working environment while minimizing negative environmental impacts. The automation in agricultural machinery has ushered in a new era, enhancing farmers' productivity and income, while positively contributing to the sustainable development of the global agricultural industry. In the ever-evolving landscape of agriculture, Claas's advanced grass-cutting machines have demonstrated a crucial role and profound impact on the agricultural industry. delivering high efficiency, time and labor savings. Along with providing quality feed for livestock, are undeniable benefits derived from these products. By amalgamating cutting-edge technology, operational prowess, and flexibility in design, Claas has crafted superior grass-cutting machines. These not only elevate production efficiency but also propel the advancement of modern agriculture. The utilization of Claas's grass-cutting machines isn't just a significant step forward but also a potent driving force, shaping sustainable development for the agricultural sector. The utility, efficiency, and advanced nature of these products not only benefit farmers, but also positively impact rural communities and the global landscape, fostering sustainable development and modernization within the agricultural industry. Overall, Claas's advanced grass-cutting machines are not merely tools. They are reliable partners contributing significantly to the prosperity and advancement of the agricultural sector, relentlessly aiming towards a future of intelligent and sustainable agriculture. Join and subscribe to the Future Farming Tech channel today to not miss out on captivating videos showcasing heavy-duty machinery in agriculture and industry. We take pride in producing high-quality content, offering valuable insights into advanced technology in this field. With a team of top experts, we commit to delivering reliable, fascinating, and high-quality videos featuring agricultural and industrial machinery. Seize the opportunity to stay updated with the latest knowledge, witness modern machinery models, and gain a deeper understanding of technology applications in the production process. Join our community and hit the subscribe button to receive notifications whenever new videos are released. Future Farming Tech will assist you in making steadfast progress amidst the agricultural and industrial revolution. Let's together pave the way for groundbreaking advancements in the industry.